Welcome to the DYB podcast, where each week we share strategies and stories to inspire you to double your business so that you can have financial freedom, time for your family, and make an impact in your community. And now, this week's episode.
What happened?
Well, this is a few years ago. We're at a house. In the morning, we've been there. This was our first day there. It was in the summer. We're painting the interior of the house. And the lady said, whatever you do, don't let the cat out. Well, I'm not really a cat person. I know other people are in this group. But anyways, I'm not a cat person. So, of course, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, one of my guys says, the cat got out. I'm like, oh, man. Now I'm thinking, what are we going to do? So now we got to find the cat. Well, the job got finished. Me and two of the guys. It's now 6 o'clock at night. This cat is under the deck, and there's only about a foot to go under this deck, and this deck is huge. And we're like throwing rocks at the cat and things, you know. We're trying to get this cat out. It wouldn't come out. So it's like 6:30. It's dark out. The trucks are running in the driveway. The lady comes home, and she goes, "What are you still doing here?" I go, "Your cat got out." And I'm thinking to myself, this is costing me a small fortune. Because these guys are now on overtime trying to catch this cat. I'm calling my wife saying I'm going to be late. I'm catching a cat. Right. And I'm like, you know, what? And then she goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. It gets out all the time." I'll tell you, that lost cat under the deck probably cost me $250.
I heard you. You almost said you were going to go out and buy a new cat.
Well, we've got 3. We could have just spotted you one.
So
that's awesome. Whew. All right. Well, hello and welcome back to the DYB podcast. This episode, I believe it's episode 91. We're about to have some fun with Ron Ramsden. We mentioned last episode that he was on episode 3 to hear a startup story. Well, a lot has changed since that episode and where we left off on the podcast. And so we wanted to circle back and hear all about Ron's adventures since then. And so without further ado, Ron Ramsden.
Hello.
Hey. All right. So rolling right along, coaching, bunch of mastermind groups and painting company. And then you just decided to kind of take a break.
Hang it up.
Yeah. So what happened?
Well, you know, many know that I owned a painting company. We were pretty good size. You know, we fluctuated with guys. And it got to a point where, you know, fortunately, my wife and I were at a point where, you know, you make decisions that aren't going to affect everybody else. And financially, we were okay. And I was just getting burnt out of running the business was fine. It was honestly, I was getting bored. And I don't know how many people say they get bored running the business, but the business was running fine. My son was part of the business, and I realized that, you know, he wanted more. And so I don't know if I remember having a conversation with him and saying, listen, take this conversation is the glass is half full, right? And I told him, and I said, I want to give you the entire company. And I think I did have to charge him $1 for something because he did hand me $1 for something. So company list, contracts, you know, and hopefully he feels like that, you know, was a pretty good deal for $1. So
Sure he does.
so anyways, that's how that went. And I kind of took a step back. I didn't know it when my wife, we had the conversation of what do you want to do? So I took a couple months and trying to feel myself out what I was going to do and let the dust kind of settle and did some home projects and those, and that got boring really quick. So the next year, that was the end of 2021, I decided, hey, you know, people are still calling me for painting. Yes, Steve. Okay.
So before we get further, what was Mike's response when you said, hey, look, you can have the company?
Totally.
So you had it was an awesome company, cash flowing handsomely.
Streamlined,
right?
Yeah.
because you were bored. I mean,
Yeah, I was pretty bored. And, you know, and I didn't mind banging a nail. I like doing like trim repair, But honestly,
Mhm.
I wasn't. On a scale of 1 to 10, I was probably a 6. But a lot of cock can fix that. And and
Mhm.
he was. I think he was pretty much taken by surprise. But it took
Yeah.
him about a week or two to realize that this is a pretty good opportunity. Because if he wanted to make the money what he wanted to make, in my head, that he had to run a company. You
Mhm.
can only make so much being a team player, a painter in the field, a crew leader. He was,
Mhm.
they may get paid well depending who you are and what you work on, but
Mhm.
he was probably where he was going to be for a little while. So I gave him the opportunity. We had vehicles, we had equipment and contracts and relationships and the name. It
Mhm.
just the phone never stopped ringing, never
Yeah.
Yeah.
stopped ringing.
How has it? No, how long has it been since this happened?
Over a little over 2 years.
Okay, you guys are both hard workers. Still, it's different generations, different
Yeah.
personalities. How is the company different from when you had it before you handed it over?
Mike is a craftsman, which
Hmm.
I wasn't. I was honestly a painter,
Hmm.
and Mike loves doing high quality, high end work.
Hmm.
And so they've reduced the size of
Hmm.
some of my work is aged out. I mean, we had 70-something-year-old workers, and they get along with me
Hmm.
because I'm like I
Yeah.
was the next generation. Mike's 2 generations prior to that. A little different work. I wouldn't say work ethic, but Mike's a hard worker. Just that he liked to work on
Hmm.
different things, and so he's concentrated on high end, and he reduced the crew and work life and
Simplified.
work life balance. Where I
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
not a work life balance, I was work work work. And if someone called, I have to say it, and it's probably sometimes we just don't shut it off. So
Yeah.
so
Guilty.
yeah, so it is what it is, and he'll probably
Hmm.
live a lot longer than I will. So
Yeah.
good for him.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Cool. So, and then what? Because here's a quick aside. Ron might not volunteer, so he has an awesome lake house. I've had an opportunity to hang out and to check it out, and so I'm sure he went up and spent some time up the lake. But you can only do that for so long,
Yeah,
right?
during COVID, my wife and my wife works in an office, but of course the offices were closed, so she was working from home. But it gave us the opportunity as every Friday. We spent 50 out of 52 weekends at the lake during COVID. So
Wow.
we missed two. And maybe it was Christmas one of the weeks. I don't
Hmm.
remember. So we use it there. I would say even right now with COVID back open up, we're there out of 8 weekends. We're there 7. So
Wow.
so
Nice.
we get our
Yeah.
full use out of it. It's only an hour from our house, so it's perfect location. Um,
Hmm.
but after that, I took a few months to figure out what I want. I think it was probably March the next year. The phone started ringing again. I'm forwarding everything to my son, my own personal cell phone because customers still had that too. And he was booked solid, and he didn't want to do some of the exteriors. So I said,
Hmm.
what can I do? So I got to call the insurance company, got a tax ID number, and started subcontracting out exteriors. I didn't
Mhm.
go inside because I didn't know my subcontractors enough to go. In between that, I hooked up with a company about an hour away who was expanding their interior kitchen division. It was about an
Mhm.
$8 million company, and
Hmm.
I was hired to help out for a bit. Uh, I did that for about 4 months. That's what I did. About 4 months in between that, and that wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't not just working for somebody. It was how they took care of the customers, and
Mm.
it just I didn't feel I was a good fit. And we had a conversation about it a couple times, and we left on good terms. It's
Mhm.
just that they were more of a production, and the customers
Yeah.
they were okay to cancel a job the day before the job was ready to start if they realized that the numbers weren't where they're supposed to be. So
Mm.
Ouch.
yeah, we didn't see eye to eye in those meetings.
Mm.
Yeah.
So then I opened the subcontracting. I forgot about that spot.
Okay.
Opened the subcontracting. You subs put an ad out on Craigslist and Indeed, and I ended up with 3 really good subs, and it worked out well. Yes,
Hmm.
Seth.
Seth.
Did you continue it this summer, Ron?
Well, it's a no, but that's another. So we'll get to that, but we'll circle back to that one.
Don't move. That's
Don't
coming up.
move. Yeah, right after this commercial, we'll come back to that. So I did that all the way through. I actually closed the business at the end of the year. Probably that ran about 7 months. I didn't want to go inside. And it was getting old. And the reason why is because the labor shortage we mentioned in the previous podcast. You're finding it just as hard with subcontractors. Subcontractors were so busy. I was actually having subcontractors tell me I can get to that house in 10 weeks. In scheduling, telling a customer, at least in New England up here, you tell a Boston person, I'll be at your house in 3 months, they're going to tell you where to go. We don't sugarcoat things like other people do in the United States.
A little bit different than the Midwest.
Yeah. So anyways, so I did that until about, let's say October. But I actually closed it in December because of tax reasons. I actually got a rebate on my insurance too, which was nice. But in between, I had met a woman, Nikki, I'll tell you her name, who owned during a BNI thing she owned an insurance company. And I said, what do I want to do with the next 10 years of my life? I'm 58 years old. I need something that's easy on my body, something that everybody needs. You need it in Massachusetts to drive a car. I know in New Hampshire you don't need insurance on a vehicle if there's no money owed. So I'm like, oh, that's easy. I've been paying insurance my entire life, multiple policies. So I inquired her. I just wanted to shadow her, for a couple of days, and she was cool with that. So the first meeting, she said, I'm selling the business. So it's in a beautiful town, 12-minute ride from my house, right on the seacoast. Great restaurants, great upscale community. It was an Allstate agency, as well as they sold about 20 other kinds of insurance. Because if Allstate wouldn't, and the background in insurance is if the main carrier won't write the insurance with the underwriters, there's other companies that will. What do you know? I ended up buying an insurance agency. so I had to get so I got 4 different licenses to sell insurance, and went through all.
How much work was that?
It was studying and taking a test, and you needed a 70 or more to pass a test. I was a little nervous going in to take a test. I haven't taken a test since I took a college course, and I was able to pass on the first attempt, 3 out of 4 of them. And that's all you needed. That no one ever asked you for. They asked you for the number and a copy of your test. No, it's almost like going to school. As soon as you pass, it's over with. I did go to Allstate school. Had to do a business plan with Allstate. Had mentors walking me through that and correcting it. It took about 4 months. February 1st was my purchase date. So I purchased the actual book of business, all the furniture inside. And with this insurance agency, she built out the insurance from scratch. Everything was brand new. She opened April 1st when COVID hit in March. So the business actually never opened its doors for months and months and months. Yeah, so she had a bad timing altogether.
Didn't the book of business, didn't it include moped as well?
Yeah, I bought a part of that. Well, that was the book of business. That was actually the contents, not to correct it, the contents, which was a 1963 Vespa Allstate moped was in the foyer, which is now sitting proudly in my garage behind something. Eventually something will happen to it. So if you're looking for a Vespa, send a message and we can talk to you.
There you go.
But so I bought the whole thing 3 weeks after I bought it. And my whole business plan was to sell. I hired agents. They call them LSP, licensed agents, to sell car insurance, auto insurance, houses, and that things. I wanted to work with the businesses. I was past president of the new Northeast PDCA, now PCA at one time. I know a lot of people, all the BNIs I've been in. So I thought I could have some connections. And 3 weeks in, they notified me that they were no longer selling business insurance in the state of Massachusetts.
Oh.
So it took a little wind out of my sails. And one of the reasons that took the wind out of my sails is I didn't own it. I didn't have a note on the business, fortunately. I just wrote a check for it. But there's a whole bonus structure built for struggling businesses that Allstate puts in. And it's cumulative, which actually at the end of the first year, it's about a $330,000 bonus if you hit them all. Well, the problem is once that's taken out of the equation, it makes it a little more difficult. And if you think hiring a painter is tough, try to find a licensed insurance agent, right? So similar but different. Being being a Boston guy, I didn't like that news, and we quickly went into defense mode, and got some lawyers and stuff involved, and we ended up selling the book of business. They told me in my contract with them, it's about an 80-page contract. There was a buyout clause in there that at any time I could sell it back because it was a struggling business to Allstate. And it had a value, and the value was I actually made a little money on the book, but what I did eat was the actual furniture and the Vespa scooter, which is selling furniture is like selling a used paintbrush.
You could just switch the Allstate sticker for a DYB sticker.
Yeah, I could.
There you go.
right around town.
I should have. The issue is it doesn't run.
Oh, no.
I knew that going into it, and I was fortunate that the landlord was a commercial space. He just said, "Don't worry about it." There was a 3-year lease on it. He says, "I can rent it for more money than I get from you." So he was very happily, because the previous owner of the Allstate built out this old commercial space that was empty for years into this brand new office. And it was a corner unit right next to a busy it was right across from a busy plaza. So he knew he had some equity in the build out. Mm-hmm. So sold that. There's some details that I won't go into, just that was hit me by surprise, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't change things, and just suck it up and move on. If you worry about some of the little things, you'll be worried about everything. Mm-hmm. So have a little furniture left. I just put out for a charity. A charity is going to pick up some of the rest of the equipment. And since then,
you don't deliver to Florida, do you?
No.
Okay.
I'll ship it if you want to pay shipping.
Let me get that approved through my CFO, April. That's a hard no.
Okay. So let's see. What have we been doing since? Rejoined DYB as a coach. Actually, I think it was just about that time when we were parting ways with Allstate is when Steve and I were talking again, and I miss the guys. I still talk to a lot of the guys. They reached out because of all the crazy videos I've done in the past. I've done a couple other things with real estate and such, but nothing.
Real quick comment, Ron. Pardon me. So Ron mentioned all the crazy videos in the past. For those who might not be aware, maybe you're only listen to podcasts, maybe you're not on YouTube. But if you go to YouTube and you search DYB Coach and or Ron Ramsden, you will see he's got a couple hundred, if not a few hundred, fantastic videos on YouTube. And so Ron is awesome on video. And if you haven't seen them yet, you go check them out. So when you mentioned crazy videos, no, they're fantastic videos on YouTube. Yeah, hours and hours of valuable content there for you.
Yes,
you better like a Boston accent if you're going to listen to them.
In fact, that's in early 2019. That's how I found DYB Coach, was Ron's videos on YouTube.
Yeah,
so, no kidding.
Yeah,
awesome.
So we rejoined DYB. Been coaching some masterminds, some of the business owners privately through DYB.
Mm-hmm.
One-to-one. It's been fun. It's great to see them grow. And, just work out things on a weekly, every other week basis with them, and give them some goals to hit and keep them accountable for their actions. Mm-hmm. Moving forward, I think once you're an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur.
Amen,
I
brother.
am looking for the next egg.
On the hunt.
Yeah.
If not, I'm going to have to squeeze a couple chickens here. So, but I think I think when you're this way, you're always looking. You see opportunity in a lot of things.
Mhm.
So, and I think the same thing with painting contractors. You're on you see power washing, you see roof washing, you see carpentry. These are all subdivisions of the actual company that could be. So, so I think I look at life that way. But anybody who says, well, he jumps around, I think it all comes down to is I've been very financially unstable, and I've been financially stable. And if you don't start taking care of that first, you don't have opportunities in the future.
100%.
Yeah. I think Seth was, when he first joined DYB, he was in Ron's mastermind. Is that correct, Seth?
Yeah. So like I said, I'd been browsing around on YouTube, just searching painting contracting videos, found a few different channels. And I remember going through, I'm like, wow, there's all these like awesome tidbit videos on YouTube of Ron. And then I found the Instagram. And then, one thing led to another. My uncle was a member at DYB and still is. And
from the beginning.
And so I was looking on the testimonials page and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to join DYB. Oh, Uncle John's in DYB. Okay, now I'm joining, I'm like, there's testimony right there. And so when I joined, I had my intake call with Steve and kind of told him where I was. I think at the time I had like 2 employees. And we got hooked up into Mastermind 7, MG7. And Masterminds are, if you're new to this whole thing, it's a group of 4, 5 to 15 to 20 painters in the same realm of where you are in business, generally the same revenue window. And Ron was our coach. And I just remember that summer, I learned so much. And by the end of the summer, I think I had 6 or 7 employees, and we were doing everything above the line. And really, as a testament to Ron, you corral a bunch of painters really well online on a Zoom call. I thought, man, I'm going to meet on Zoom with a bunch of painting contractors. Like, this is weird, awkward, And you did a great job at keeping us all engaged and keeping us accountable. So I want to thank you for that, Ron, for sure.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I mean, from masterminds, East Coast time, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when they all start. So it's into the afternoon. So it's powerful. It's a way to change your business. If you're tired of the same old, it's time to do something.
Yeah.
If you're not going to invest in your business and yourself, I don't know what you're going to invest in.
I mean, think about what corporation does not have a board of directors.
Correct.
Every single one. And so that's really a missing ingredient for most small businesses. And we wouldn't have built Burnett Painting if it weren't for the Monday 20, which was the name of our local mastermind. If we didn't get feedback and accountability and inspiration and ideas to bounce off week to week. So absolutely.
It changed me. It changed my business. I think between this and then the few guys I still stayed in touch with through PDCA/PCA, that we could have coffee with in a beer. This was how I kept up with the changes in the industry. And writing a job description. What do you do to write a job description? But when you have someone else in your mastermind group who has job descriptions, who will share that you can edit to make your own, you're not starting everything from scratch, and you don't feel like you're all by yourself out there on an island.
Indeed. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Ron, thank you so much for sharing your story, catching us up from episode 3 to, I believe this might be 91. And it's great to have you back. Still hearing awesome things from everybody in your mastermind groups. I don't think there were any evening ones. I did hear some rumors about, I can't wait for, I think you remember you had like a 6 or 7 p.m.
We had
one.
a 7 p.m. one.
Yeah, I don't think we do right now, but I remember hearing some guys say, "Oh yeah, I can't wait for Mastermind. Get to have beers with Ron."
Well, we won't. That might have happened. That might have not have happened. But anyway, it's they had mugs in their hand. I don't know what was in them. Okay.
That's awesome. So if anybody wants to reach out, it's Ron at dybcoach.com or connect with them on Facebook. Just a quick search, Ron Burnett. Any Seth, we can jump
Ron
in
Ramsden, that would be.
Yeah, Ron Ramsden.
Ramsden.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Again, it's great to have you back. And thank you for catching us up on your story. And for our listeners and viewers, for our listeners, we are recording video. So we'll be putting these on YouTube as well and Facebook and whatever social media app is trending this quarter. And hope to see you guys on the next episode. Remember to do exactly what it says behind Seth and Ron. Dream big, hustle smarter. You've got this. Have a great day.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ron.
Take care. Thanks.
Yes, thanks, Ron. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If this was helpful, please share it with a friend to help inspire them to double their business. Again, this is April Burnett. Steve and I are the founders of Burnett Painting and DYB Coach. We want to take a moment and thank you for making us the most rated podcast dedicated specifically to painting contractors. To celebrate, we want to help you break through to higher success. So Steve is now giving away free strategy calls. Just click the link below in the show notes that says free strategy call. There are only a couple of openings on his calendar each week, so get your free call with Steve now. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to dream big, hustle smarter, you've got this.